Good afternoon. I pray that your Wednesday was filled with places and spaces where you could just feel good about being you. And some of you say, I never feel good about being me. There's so many things I dislike about me. But I pray that even if it was for an instant, you found an opportunity to find something to celebrate about you. Because guess what? You are awesome. You are awesome in spite of your flaws. You are awesome in spite of your fears. You are awesome in spite of those negative thoughts. And somebody out there needs to hear that today. We can have all that stuff going on and still be awesome. And so I encourage you today that to intentionally look for spaces and places where you feel good about yourself. Now, we've been talking about toxic relationships, and we've been talking about signs that your relationship might be toxic. So just quickly to review, we talked about toxic communication. We talked about lack of support. And very much connected to lack of support is jealousy. It's when you're in a relationship and either you or your partner have difficulty celebrating the goodness of the other person, celebrating the accomplishments of the other person. To put it plainly, they are jealous. Either you or your partner are jealous of each other. And how does that jealousy show up? It can show up in a myriad of ways. It could be you have just gotten a promotion on your job, or maybe you've gotten a job after you have been looking for one for a while, and you're feeling really, really good about that thing that's happened, but your partner barely acknowledges it. Your partner is actually could be sulking. Your partner actually could be trying to sabotage it by trying to get you to second guess. Well, is it really that good? Well, you're comfortable where you are. How do you know how things are going to turn out where you're going? Or, how do you know that they're really celebrating you? How do you know this is really a good move? Maybe this is not the best step to take. And so the bottom line is they are jealous of you. And they're jealous of you primarily because you exemplify for them what they may be challenged with in themselves. Maybe you are willing to take risks. Maybe you're willing to promote yourself. Maybe you're willing to walk by faith. Maybe you're willing to trust the process. And maybe they have not grown in those areas. But irrespective, one of the signs of a toxic relationship is when one of the partners is jealous of the other one. And let me just give another example. Let's say you and your partner or husband or wife, this is a blended relationship. You both may have children, or maybe one of you has children. And maybe that partner or spouse or whoever is jealous about your relationship with your children. Maybe they feel like your children are taking up too much of your time. Maybe they're jealous because you seem to get along with your children. For whatever reason, they are not pleased about what may be a very healthy relationship between you and your children, or you and your siblings or family, or even your friends. And again, is that really your issue? No, it's them kind of deflecting their own deficiencies on you and acting out because you have what they want. And as opposed to looking to you for an example of how they can too become a part of, how they can too grow, they choose to simply be jealous of you and to sabotage in any opportunity that they can. Sometimes that sabotaging can be vocal by things that they say or do, and sometimes it can simply be masked in silence. They refuse to acknowledge it. And so because that was so closely connected to lack of support, I'm going to move on to the next one, which is a big one. It's a big sign of a toxic relationship, and that is controlling behaviors. Now, we have talked about previously that if you have been traumatized, whether as a child or as an adult, if you came from a dysfunctional family or dysfunctional system, once the trauma has occurred, you lose trust in anything and anybody. And in order to try to keep yourself safe, one of the messages that your brain tells you is, I need to control everything. So in this instance, you may be the toxic part of the relationship. Maybe you are the one who has controlling issues. Maybe you are the one who becomes overly upset when you don't immediately get your texts answered or your phone calls answered. Maybe you're the one who flies off with worst case scenarios because things are not done exactly the way that you would have them to be done. I frequently give the example of a client who I worked with, and he and his wife would have knocked down, drag out fights because she liked to keep spices on the counter so she could reach them when she was cooking. He felt that everything needs to be put away and in place. And that, is that a sword to die on? Not necessarily. Was she leaving food out? Was there crumbs all over the place? No. It was simply his controlling need to have everything in its place so that he could feel safe. Now, sometimes controlling behavior manifests in relationships where you feel like you have to account for where you are at every minute, who you're with, what you're doing. You almost feel like you're being under observation, like you're being spied on, as if the person does not believe you when you say that you're doing whatever it is that you need to do. Another sign of a controlling relationship is when things has to be one partner's way. There is no compromise. There is no give and take. It's either my way or the highway. And I've heard a number of clients say that proudly. It's either my way or the highway. But the challenge with that is it totally stifles the person who they're dealing with. It totally wipes away their ability to have an opinion, their ability to have likes and dislikes. That makes for a very toxic relationship because it's not healthy, because it's not balanced. It's no longer a partnership. It's more autocratic. It's more where there's a power differential. And power differentials are good in some instances, but in an intimate relationship, that's not appropriate because it's not about who has the more power. The two of you are in this thing together. But if someone has controlling tendencies, the power differential begins to shift towards them. Well, that's what they're trying to do because they need to be in control. Okay, controlling behaviors can manifest even if you're not with your partner and your spouse and you are with friends and you're trying to make a decision about something. In the back of your mind, you can hear your partner or your spouse say, that's not going to look good on you, or don't order that, you're already fat. And so they're even controlling you without being totally present, because the messages and how the routines they have set up and their way of doing things have become ingrained in you. And so now you can't even make a decision for yourself without fear of upsetting that other person, without fear of maybe what they're telling me is true. Maybe I shouldn't order ice cream for dessert because I'm already too fat. And if you ate ice cream all day long, if you ate ice cream every day, there may be some truth in that. But we all know that, you can have whatever you want, but you need to do it in moderation and you need to do it with a sense of balance. But someone with a controlling nature will have you believe that whatever it is that they want you to do is the only way to do something. It's not about right or wrong. It's the only way. And some of us, have exhibited that type of controlling behavior with other people other than our intimate partners, with our children. The children will say, I want to go to college to be an English professor, but you've determined they're going to be a doctor. And so it's your way or no way. And I know people who have said to their children, if you're not going to go to school in what I want you to go in, I'm not helping you. I'm not giving you an ounce of help. Even trying to determine who their partners or boyfriends or girlfriends should be. And we do the same things with relatives and with friends. And so some of you may be involved in friendships where it feels really one-sided, that you all always do what the other person wants to do. You always go to the places the other person wants to go to. When you all together, you only talk about what they want to talk about. That's controlling within itself, because it's not looking at how your thoughts or how you feel or what your needs are. They're deemed as not important. So I would invite you to kind of consider, is this what's happening in your relationship? And it could very well be that it's because of your partner or your spouse. But in some instances, if you've been traumatized, I would invite you to check yourself and to see where control comes up for you, to see where the spaces and places are that you become very upset and angry if things are not done the way you want them to be done, if conversations don't go the way you want them to go. I know people who periodically come on and off social media because they don't like other people's comments. Well, guess what? You have no control over the other people's comments. What the control you do have is to either unfriend them or to continue swiping and recognizing that everybody has an opinion, and it's okay, that the variety is the spice of life. So I'm going to end right now, and I would invite you to kind of think about how control may show up in your life and how it may be, if it's there, controlling behaviors, how it may be impacting your relationships. And I invite you to do that with intention and to do it on purpose. I appreciate those of you who've been writing in and telling me about how you are growing, how you are taking small steps, how you are seeing yourself or getting some help for your situations by listening to and viewing these videos. I am pleased, I am humbled, and I am so grateful that I have been given an opportunity to intersect in your life at such a time as this. Love you all, and we'll talk with you tomorrow. Remember to like and share. If you have not purchased my book, it's available on Amazon, and the link is on my page. Love you all. Bye-bye.